Hi, this is a video on IELTS Speaking Part 2, aka the most difficult parts of the IELTS speaking test. But don't panic, okay? It is possible to do well and even perhaps enjoy this part of the test, provided you know what you're doing. Now, to do well in this part of the test, you need a game plan, and that's what I'm going to give you in this video. You'll also get the chance to put that game plan into practice to get an idea of how well you could expect to do on test day. If you are planning on taking the IELTS test, or you just want to know more about it, then go on, subscribe to Home Studies.
So we're done with the interview, and now it's time to turn our attention to the long turn. What is IELTS Speaking Part 2 all about? Well, in the long turn, you have the chance, or it's your turn, to speak for a longer period of time on your own. The whole task lasts from 3 to 4 minutes, and during the task, you get a task card about a particular topic. So after 1 minute of preparation time, you speak for 2 minutes on the topic. Then the examiner asks you 1 or 2 follow-up questions. The task card I mentioned will look something like this. At the top, it will always describe exactly what it is you need to talk about, whether it's a person, a place, a holiday, a memory, an object, or in this case, a gift. Then it will tell you specifically what you should talk about. These are usually in the form of open questions, so questions with what, when, who, or why. These open questions are perfect for the task because they allow you to give a bit more information. You're not just saying yes or no. So as I said before, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you want to. Then you talk for up to 2 minutes. After you're finished talking, the examiner will ask you 1 or 2 follow-up questions, like these.
So what are my top tips for IELTS Speaking Part 2? Well, as I said before, this is the hardest part of the test, and you have to speak for 2 minutes. What? 2 minutes? I know, don't panic, it is a long time, but we can do it. Now, it's not just the time, it's also the environment. You know, the examiner's looking at you and you have no support, you're on your own, and the pressure's on. So honestly, and this is my first tip, your best defense is preparation. This means preparing well before the test and in the minute before you start speaking. And tip number 2 connects to this. It connects to preparation. Make sure that in that minute you read the card really carefully and you know exactly what you need to talk about. You have to talk about what's on that card. Even if you don't like the topic, even if you're not 100% sure what it means, it doesn't matter. You have to do your best with what is on the card. If you try and talk about a different topic or you try and change direction too much, it's not going to work. And point 3 is that you can't control which topic comes up, but you can control your response. So, learning things like linking devices, sequencing words, and fillers can be very, very helpful on test day. Linking devices, sequencing words, and fillers? What? I know these are big technical words, like discourse markers, right? They are things that you need in order to organize your speaking and to create good flow when you do your presentation. Now, if you need more help with these more technical aspects of presenting language, presenting a topic in English, then please do get in touch with Home Studies. We can offer you a free trial to assess your needs and pair you up with an experienced exam trainer like me. So if this sounds like something you could benefit from, then go ahead and click the link below. We'd love to hear from you. Good, so let's continue with the video.
Because there's so much to think about and to keep in mind, I find that it's really helpful to have a clear breakdown step by step of what you need to do on exam day. So first, you read the task card and read it carefully so you don't miss or misunderstand anything. Next, make notes on each part of the task. You have 1 minute to do this. After that, talk about the topic on the card and be sure to answer all of the questions on it. You can speak for up to 2 minutes. It's important, though, that you keep talking until the examiner stops you. So keep going until they say thank you. And finally, answer the examiner's follow-up questions. So that's it. That's what you need to do in 5 simple steps.
My students often tell me that they find it really hard to introduce the topic, like to get speaking. And I understand that because you're so nervous and your mind can just go blank. That's why I think it's extremely helpful to have some prompts ready to help you kick things off. So you could say something like, I'd like to tell you about a special gift I got from my grandma, or I've chosen to talk about a special gift which my Nan gave me as a child. So if you have one of these prompts memorized and ready, you'll always know how to start, and this can help to reduce your nerves at the beginning.
Here's another example of an exam task card, and the topic here is sport, which I know would be a dream category for some people and a complete nightmare for others. Regardless though, if this is the topic you're given, this is the topic you have to talk about. You cannot change it. So as I said before, you have 1 minute to prepare your talk, and how you spend that minute is very, very important. How you use those 60 seconds is completely up to you. Some people like to just sit and think about what they're going to say, and others really like to take notes. Now, I'm a fan of making notes for 3 key reasons. Number 1, they can help you to focus your attention, so you know that everything you're saying is directly related to the task card. You're not wasting time by going off on tangents, by talking about things that are not connected to the topic. They can also help you to organize your ideas so that your presentation is coherent, that it flows logically, and that it's easy to follow for the examiner. And finally, they can help you to continue speaking. You know, sometimes when you're talking and your mind goes blank and you just don't know what to say next. Well, if that happens, you can just look down at your notes and you can find a keyword and you can just pick up from where you left off. So it does then improve your fluency and reduce your hesitation. So when it comes to taking notes, we suggest either using bullet points like this or a mind map, which we'll look at in a moment. If you use bullet points, it's quite good to use key questions like what, when, where, or why. Now, when you write down your keywords, make sure that they are that they're key words or key phrases, not full sentences. You don't want to try to write down your answer word for word, because these are just a prompt to help you speaking naturally and fluently. You're not going to read an answer off a piece of paper. That's not what the examiners want to see, and you don't have time for it. Next, take all of your notes in English, not your native language, okay? Some people try to do this, but it makes it more difficult for you in your presentation because then you're translating rather than just using the keywords in English. If you are a visual person, then maybe a mind map like this would work better for you. It's essentially the same information, just presented in a different way. So it really depends how your brain works, which of these, the list or the map, is going to be more effective. And honestly, if you're not sure, I recommend trying it out. Do one presentation using the bullet points, do one presentation using the mind map, and see which of them help you to perform better.
As you know, the best way to see if you get something is to do it. So why don't you pause the video and do this exam task? Spend 1 minute on making notes, either bullet points or a mind map, and then set a timer on your phone. See if you can speak for 2 minutes on the topic. When you're done, press play and check out a model answer that would be a high-scoring Band 9 response. Good luck! Today I've chosen to talk about squash, which is a really great game. It's a racket sport, kind of like tennis, but only using smaller rackets and balls. Squash can be played with 2 or 4 players. I usually just play with my squash partner, but sometimes we do also play doubles matches with other players from our club. You play in an indoor court and it's got 4 walls, and you can hit the ball against any of the walls. The ball itself is very small and it's made of rubber, so it's very bouncy. And the balls have different colors or different colored dots on them. So the color tells you how high the ball will bounce. For instance, a yellow ball bounces high, so it's like really good for beginners. But then a green dot ball doesn't really bounce so well, so it would be much better for a more advanced player. Now, I got into squash about 15 years ago while I was studying at university. The backstory is that I had a pretty unhealthy lifestyle as a student, and I was eating and drinking too much, and I was also under a lot of stress. So a friend recommended squash to me, and he said it could really help me to relax and get in shape. At first, I wasn't sure if I would like it or not, but it turned out he was right. I loved it. The minute I started playing, I absolutely loved it. So initially I was only playing a few times a month, but then I decided to join the club and started playing it at least 3 times a week. Honestly, there are so many reasons why I love this game. I'm an energetic person, so it suits me perfectly. And not only is it fun and social, but it's an full body workout. Like, it's seriously exhausting. The game is really intense, so you tend to run around non-stop. I can definitely recommend it if you'd like to try something new.
Let's analyze the answer together. So we start with the what. We're talking about squash, which is a racket sport. And as you can see there, I started with the memorized opener I've chosen to talk about. So even for a band 9 response, this is still a good way to get the talk going. Next, there is some detail about the main features of the game. So how many players there are, where the game is played, and something about the equipment that is needed if you want to play. After that, we look at the when and the where, and this is where you really get into the backstory. I always tell my students that backstory is important because it shows the examiner that you can switch into the past tenses, that you can narrate events in the past, and also they're a great way to fill the time. So elaborate, tell a little bit about the story, how it is that you got into the sport or into the topic that you're discussing. And finally, to cover the last point, you explain why you like the game. So you give your reasons, and then you give a little recommendation at the end. This is a really good way to close the presentation. Then, as you know, there are 2 follow-up questions at the end of the talk. And these questions relate directly to the content of what you've just been talking about. So for this task, the examiner might ask you, is it an expensive sport to do, or how difficult is it to start this sport? Now, the follow-up questions are not written on the task card, so you need to listen really carefully to what the examiner asks you. They aren't difficult questions, but it is important that you know they're coming so they don't catch you by surprise. Here at Home Studies, we know that practice makes perfect. That's why we've created a practice pack for you to help you improve your performance in IELTS Speaking Part 2. The pack contains 3 authentic exam task cards for you to work on your own at home. To download your free copy, just click the link below. We hope it helps. And if you really want to see how well you can do in this task, why don't you record yourself speaking? I know it sounds like a horrible idea, but I promise you it's productive because you can do the task and then listen back and see how well your ideas connect and your whole talk flows. Remember, for this task, it's very important that you time yourself. So set a timer and see if you manage to reach the 2-minute mark. Good luck. After you've done the tasks from the practice pack and you've recorded yourself and you're ready to listen back, ask yourself these 4 very important questions. Number 1, did I introduce the topic? Number 2, did I cover all the points on the task card? Number 3, did I speak clearly? And number 4, did I use a good range of vocabulary and grammar? Try and answer these questions as honestly as you can, because it will give you a good idea of how well you can expect to do on test day. And remember, if you have any doubts or questions about this, you can always contact us at Home Studies. And now it's over to you. Let's take a look at this final exam task card, which is all about film. Are you into films? Are you a film buff? What is your favorite genre? Well, for this task, you need to describe your favorite film. You should say the name of the film and where it's set, what kind of film it is, what it's about, and explain why you like it. So try to do the task following the steps we've discussed in this video. And why don't you put your answers into the comment section below? It's a good chance to practice your writing and also to make sure you can organize your thoughts well. We'd love to hear from you, and we could also give you some feedback on how you put together the task. Good luck.
Well, that is gonna do it. If you enjoyed the video, go on, give us a like, and do stay tuned for the next video tutorials in our IELTS speaking series. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.